Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another episode interview of Purple Chorus. And today I'm delighted to be turning the tables, as it were, because my guest today, the last time we met, she actually interviewed me, which was a very comfortable experience. So thank you for that. Um, Laura is an artist and author and podcast host herself. She has a podcast series called Intent on Purpose. And the thing that we both share is direct experience of epilepsy. So the first thing I'm going to invite you to do, Laura, is tell people a little bit more about intent on purpose.
Well, thank you for having me today on your podcast. Intent on Purpose is all about people who put their time, energy, and talents into what they believe.
Hmm.
And I've had fascinating guests who have a different variety of things they believe. And the
Hmm.
thing you believed was this chorus or this group of people getting people together
Yes.
to explore their feelings and technology that's coming up in research about
Hmm.
epilepsy. And that's
Hmm.
fascinating that you put so much time, energy, and definitely talent into
Thanks.
that. So it was a
Yeah.
pleasure to have you on the show.
Yeah, it was nice to be on the other side of the mic occasionally, because most of the time nowadays I'm the one interviewing, so it's nice when someone says, "Can I interview you?" So yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Now you and I have known each other for quite a long time,
Mhm.
and I'd probably hazard a guess at probably more than a decade, something like that, that we've been on each other's radar. Certainly, when I was doing my epilepsy art research quite a while back, um, yours was one of the names that cropped up.
Mhm.
Could you tell people or even show people a bit more about your artwork? Because I looked at your artwork and found it really quite striking, quite on the money, as it were.
Oh, well, thank
So,
you very much.
yeah.
I appreciate that. I wish I'd known you that long, but I think that we met just a few years ago
Hmm.
when someone introduced us because I was going to write a play about epilepsy, and she
That,
suggested you for the soundtrack.
all right. That'll be
There's
it.
lots
Yeah.
of intelligent, beautiful, talented people, and I'm sure that's what you're confusing me with. But in a
Well,
few years, we can say we've known each other for a decade. I
yeah.
wanted to stop and say something about that podcast that I forgot. My seizures impact my language. It's temporary aphasia. I'm
Right.
totally aware when I'm having my seizures.
Hmm.
So putting on a podcast and speaking
Hmm.
was a bit scary. It took a
Hmm.
little bit of mm, oomph, I guess I'd
Yeah,
call it, to
definitely.
put it on, and a
Courage.
little bit of
Yeah.
risk.
Hmm.
So I would say it was worth the risk. My
Hmm.
seizures have been under control for over a year now. I
Brilliant.
started having seizures over 20 years ago, and so I'm
Hmm.
very excited they were under control.
Hmm.
It's something to celebrate.
It is absolutely. I mean, I know when I first started my seizure freedom, every day was a bonus, and to a certain extent, even now, more than a decade later, every day is a bonus.
Mhm.
You
Every
know?
day is a bonus, yeah.
Yeah,
And every
absolutely.
day you live with a little bit of a slavery
You
to
do.
epilepsy because it's always there.
Hmm.
And I've called my seizures epilepsy. It's a little
Right.
monster that she always lives with me. And
Hmm.
so I create using Canva digitally, and I also draw and do little
Hmm.
watercolors.
Hmm.
I explore. I'm trying. So I wanted to show you some of those images, and you're
Yeah.
kind enough to let me do so. So I'm
Yeah,
going to share my
absolutely.
screen.
Yeah.
and show you
Go
those.
ahead. Yeah, absolutely. There we are.
So this is epilepsy.
Right.
She's my little monster.
Mm-hmm.
And she entered my life when I was 36. She just popped into my brain and started causing havoc.
Mm-hmm.
So I have her, this is her whipping around my neurons,
Mm-hmm.
playing with them,
Yeah.
and I have her name
Mm-hmm.
tag. This is from a little bit of a slideshow I did, a little bit of a longer talk.
Right.
And she was there when, defiantly, when I was diagnosed with epilepsy, she liked
Mm-hmm.
that name.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then these are some graphics of me. One of the seizures I have is I can't stop saying a word. I repeat the word over and over and over again. So that graphic kind of describes that seizure.
I
And the
like
other
that
one,
graphic. That is the one I found particularly striking, really. Well, both of those, really. Uh,
and then the one where they're trying to fix me. And you
mm,
see little epilepsies in the corner
mm-hmm,
watching. I
mm,
think she might be laughing because it's not going to work, is it? They're not going to be able
mm.
to fix me.
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting thing that you've done. Is that you've actually personified the epilepsy, uh, which is an interesting concept. Yeah, carry on.
And then I'm stuck with her. So I've just kind of said, okay, here she is. And then she may be my constant companion, but I don't have to give her more time than she takes.
Very true.
So why am I have to worry about her. I have to take medication. She is there. I have to monitor it. But my seizures, I have to be realistic. They're not um, tonic-clonic. They're not as bad as others. I'm
Mm,
not ruled by them. I have to be realistic.
hmm
It takes something from me. I have to be honest about what it takes from me, but I don't have to give any more time to it or time to her than she takes.
hmm Yeah.
That's
Uh,
why I'm holding her like this. I'm in
mhm.
control of how much time, as
Very
much
good
time as I
point.
want to give her. Okay.
Very good point. Yeah.
And these are some graphics of generalness about epilepsy. People hide from epilepsy. They don't want to
Yes.
admit they have epilepsy. They hide.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
then the other one is you have so many tests, so many
Hmm
MRIs. It's
Yeah.
amazing how many tests you go through.
hmm
It's exhausting, the doctor's appointment, especially when you first diagnosed. I had adult onset epilepsy.
hmm
It's just exhausting. I don't know, like you're glad they find a brain in there, but
Mm.
it's
It's
exhausting.
encouraging. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the third one there is when you're on your medication, you're just not quite right. It
Mm.
impacts you. And so that's why the face is like that. Something's not just, nothing just not quite right. And
Yeah.
sometimes it can change you over time. There's studies, I believe, that show there's memory loss over time. Like
Yes.
me, I've been on
Yes.
Lamictal for over 20 years.
Right.
It's an anticonvulsant. I don't
hmm
think it cannot have some kind of symptom that long. I don't know.
Well,
Again,
it's, mhm.
I'm sure you're going to know more than I do.
Well, not necessarily because our experience is always unique. We might, for example, have been prescribed the same medication and the same dosage of the same medication, but that doesn't mean that you and I will respond to that medication in exactly the same way.
Hmm.
It might impact me in one way and you in another, you know.
That's true. I was
Uh,
thinking about the doctors you've met and the conferences you gone to. Maybe you heard a little bit of
mhm.
more of a tidbit about how long-term effects of medication, and I should be studying up more on it. Perhaps me dangling epilepsy, I should know more, but then I can't change it anyway.
Oh,
So maybe not facing it as much as I should. Let's be real. Okay? Let's face it.
I
And then these
think,
are actual drawings I've done. The realization when you're first diagnosed, that's how I
hmm
felt.
yeah,
And then
hmm
the second one is layers of pain.
hmm
That's what I call that, layers
hmm
of pain, because with epilepsy, it isn't simple. There's a dependency. There's how it impacts your family, and you see how it impacts your family. That's the pain. And then there's pain of the seizures and the actual, you have the seizure, and then there's this tiredness after it.
hmm
No matter how small your seizure is,
yeah,
you're tired after it.
hmm
And then there's the confusion that could happen when this the deja vu
hmm
type of seizure. You're confused, and then there's just levels and
yeah,
levels of tiredness, layers
hmm
and layers. So
yes,
that's what that painting represents, the drawing, excuse me. And then the third painting is that you're a slave to
yes,
epilepsy.
yes.
So those are my artwork that describes and expresses who epilepsy is and graphics about what I think of epilepsy as a whole, and then my more direct feelings about it in
hmm
the drawings and the one painting.
I think those works are absolutely brilliant.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing them. They're certainly very insightful and in some ways, looking at artistic representations of epilepsy can actually tell you more than if you say it out loud. Um, and certainly looking at those images, quite often I could pick up instantly before you even said so, what experience you were conveying there. And yes, when you were on about knowing more about epilepsy, it is such a hugely diverse and historical condition. I mean, I believe it's the fourth most common neurological condition there is, uh, and it affects more than 65 million people.
Mhm.
And so I'd say there will be pockets of information or experience that you know that I don't, and vice versa, you know. And that is why this site is called Purple Chorus, because by bringing individual people together, we can share an awful lot more information an awful lot faster than
Mhm.
if you sit in your room and tell your picture, and I sit in my room and tell mine, but don't connect, because then I
Mhm.
would never hear what information
Mhm.
and knowledge you have, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
And we can all learn from each other. And it's from an artistic perspective, essentially what I've tried to do in the last 16 years now is find sonic ways of conveying exactly what you've just said and conveying exactly what you just showed me. And a lot of people will look at those drawings and paintings and pictures and graphics, etc., and will have an aha moment because they might not have come across an artistic representation of epilepsy before. Uh, and certainly the chain of the mouth. Uh, I found that particularly striking when I first looked at it, um, and the layers that you were talking about. It's not just you. It's not just that is something I hammer home absolutely almost every day. Is that it's not just the person who has the seizure.
Mhm.
Um, just like a lot of other illnesses, it's not only the person who experiences the illness who is affected by it or lives with it.
Mhm.
Um, and that's something that, for many reasons, doctors are in a way a bit powerless to deal with in a sense,
Mm.
because I had this conversation with a friend of ours, Julie, Dr. Julie Thompson-Dobkin,
Oh, who's also
and
on my show.
yeah,
Yes.
and I said to her, I said, I do recognize that obviously in consultation time you have a very, very small window. So
Hmm.
therefore, within that very small window, the only real issue to explore is how many seizures have you had since the last time we spoke? Were they
Hmm.
different? Were they
Hmm.
more severe?
Hmm.
What can you tell me about them? And that more or less takes up the entirety of the available consultation time.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
so if you're in there with somebody who saw you having multiple seizures and was greatly affected by it, their story and their hurt and etc. doesn't doesn't have a space in there.
Hmm.
Uh, but it's something that does need very much need addressing. Yeah.
It does. It was interesting when I was telling the story about the don't give epilepsy more time than she could take. And then I
Hmm.
realized I didn't really know for sure the long-term effects of Lamictal only that I'd heard that it can impact your memory. And I was kind of
Hmm.
embarrassed that I didn't know more. To tell you, I had four young children. In fact, my baby was born,
Hmm.
my youngest was born September, and I started having seizures soon after he was born, but kind of
Hmm.
ignored them
Hmm.
until I had a what is now called a tonic-clonic seizure one night in April. Then I
Hmm.
went to the emergency room, and then they did an EEG, and I had six during the test, and then
Hmm.
then we went down the
Yeah.
road. But I didn't really take the time to like ask them how they're feeling or discuss it because I had these four kids, 10
Hmm.
and under, that I did
Hmm.
take care of. And I so wished that I would have talked to them about it.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
had just heard recently, I'd had eye surgery. And so
Hmm.
my eye was all disgusting. And then I had
Hmm.
bit my tongue
Hmm.
during this seizure, and
Yeah.
that makes you look really bad.
Yeah.
And
Really
my
rough.
son thought I had looked like a monster. I
Mm.
had not even had thought about that
Mm.
because I
Yeah.
just was moving forward. And so
Yes.
there's a uh, danger in wanting to move forward without stopping
Hmm.
and
And
discussing it and saying,
hmm.
okay, how did this affect you? Let's talk
Yeah.
about feelings,
Hmm.
because what use is feelings? Some of us don't think much about emotions, maybe the way
Yeah.
we're raised or whatever. But
Yes,
when you talk
exactly.
about impact the whole family,
Hmm.
I wonder if there's other parents like me who don't have visible seizures, who
Hmm.
don't, who just move on. But my
Hmm.
children
Hmm.
my children would ask me when we were shopping and I got a little stuck at the store, like I'd stare at the
Hmm.
grocery aisle, like bread or something, and they'd
Hmm.
say out loud, Mom, did you take your drugs? Mom, did
Yeah.
you take your
Yeah.
drugs?
Yeah.
So they were worried, but I
Yes.
just kept carrying on,
Yeah.
and that was not wise. So if someone's listening
Hmm.
and you have kids, talk to them about it, ask them
Hmm.
how they're feeling, and you might, you know, just
Yeah.
discuss it with them. Be aware
That it
that,
impacts them as well.
yeah, or
Yeah.
just that you can't pretend that it doesn't impact you and get moving and ignore it.
Hmm.
You're taking your medication, you're going to your doctor's appointments.
Hmm.
You think it's under control and you keep moving because you got meals to make, milk has to be bought. You're just moving. It's not
Hmm.
you're neglecting your other duties, but you also have a duty to discuss and face something like epilepsy,
Yeah.
where your kids are
Yes.
thinking at any time you could have a seizure.
That's very, very true. Yeah, 100%. And and that is something, that realization that it could reoccur at any time is essentially the chain
Mm.
that you drew in that picture. Even if we are seizure free, we are still to a certain extent enslaved to it. Um, and one thing that I found very, very interesting that I heard when you interviewed, I don't know if it was during the interview with Julie or if it was on a separate video, is reliance on so many other people. How
Mm.
everything we do is so reliant on other people. So for those who didn't see that, I'd like you to kindly repeat what you said there because it was extremely true.
Well, I said that when you have to have medication to stay alive,
Hmm.
like epileptic medicine for epilepsy, you
Hmm.
are dependent on truckers who
Hmm.
we love and honor because they get medication to the stores. You are dependent on the pharmacy to have this medication. You're depending on the person who mans the pharmacy. You're depending on the pharmacist. You're depending on the drug companies to continue making the drugs.
Hmm.
You depend on your insurance company to continue covering that medication. You're dependent
Hmm.
on your doctor knowing what medication to give you. You are
Hmm.
so dependent. You're even dependent on the bottle manufacturer and the correct
Yeah,
labeling being
yeah.
put on the medication bottle. Because if
Hmm.
you don't get that medication, you can't just stop
No,
anticonvulsant medication.
no,
You have to build
no.
up to it and you have to slowly take it down. And
Yes.
some of the controlled seizures under
Hmm.
medication, if you don't have that medication, your seizures, even though they're small, might not be small without
No,
the medication.
no,
And
absolutely.
seizures can kill you.
They
Seizures
can.
can kill you because you fall, and seizures can
Hmm.
kill you because they're just the seizure itself. So
Yeah.
you are
Hmm.
completely dependent on all those people. So when
Hmm.
infrastructure is threatened
Hmm.
by war,
Hmm.
by natural disaster,
Hmm.
that is a separate level of anxiety. And you're
Yes.
always under the anxiety, even if you don't think about it, on
Hmm.
all those other factors. And
Yes.
people have epilepsy who don't live in nice, comfortable places in the world that
Hmm.
have their infrastructure in place.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
when you see wars and you
Hmm.
see crazy times, there are
Hmm.
people there
Hmm.
who have the same dependence as we in safer places.
Hmm.
So,
That is absolutely true, and it's a very, very important point to make that we are so reliant. It's something that a lot of people don't think about or don't realize until part of that chain breaks down. Uh, they think everything just is almost like a magic trick, you know, until part of that chain uh, doesn't work. Uh, so it's a very important point to highlight. And you mentioned side effects. There are so many potential side effects to taking epilepsy drugs, anti-epilepsy drugs. Memory being one of them, anxiety, depression, being two very, very common ones. Feeling completely isolated, hormonal change, self-image, and
yeah, can we just stop on that?
yeah, yeah,
The feeling of being defective
yes.
is because there's some epilepsy that's caused by birth defects. Like
Mm-hmm.
mine might be caused by a birth defect in
Mm-hmm.
my brain. I got a little
Mm-hmm.
brain matter that's kind of gone down into an extra crevice, deep crevice. I mean, you can
Mm-hmm.
feel defective.
Mm-hmm.
That's a horrible feeling.
Yes. Yes, it
And
is.
then Oh, something else popped in my mind that you said in a flash of genius, I'm sure. No,
Yeah.
and now it's gone. But the feeling of defective, oh, the comorbidities that come with
Yes.
epilepsy, depending on where it is in
Yes.
your brain, because it impact
Correct.
like mine is here, right, where the
Hmm.
language is. That's what I'm pointing
Hmm.
here.
Hmm.
It can come with ADHD,
Hmm.
like you said, they can come with more, I believe migraines can be
Hmm.
impacted.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, Depression, like you said,
Yes.
it actually physical things can happen with it. So it isn't
Hmm.
just seizures, there's all these things around it.
Hmm. Yeah.
So it does, even when the seizures impact people around you, but so do all those other
Hmm.
sweet things.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
I
can
was being
affect
sarcastic with the sweet things.
it can also affect other senses like taste and
Mm.
that kind of thing. But another interesting point that you raised when you were describing the art was the come down, the after
Mhm.
effect thereafter. And out of the at least 40 different types of seizure, one of the types of seizure is called ecstatic seizures, which is where during the manifestation of the seizure, the patient has a sense of euphoria, you know, like they are absolutely as high as it's possible to be. And some people might think, yeah, I'll take some of them, yeah, you can give me them. But the problem is the drop down
Mm.
is so significant because after the seizure, they reach the same point of low as
Mm.
those who fall in the at the point of manifestation anyway.
Mm.
So if you go from feeling regular to feeling absolutely euphoric to post-ictal
Mm.
state, that is actually a bigger, more significant drop.
It's pretty
Uh,
dangerous.
yeah, it is, absolutely. And you were saying about going forward and moving on. In general, they say that the most difficult stage of the three ictal stages is actually post-ictal, because in the post-ictal stage, your brain is essentially rebooting itself.
Hmm.
So if you are trying to carry on using your brain whilst it's trying to reboot itself, there are going to be periods of time where you're going to run into conflict with it. So you might try and do something, and your brain is in the process of rebooting itself, so it doesn't know how to do what you want it to do at that given moment. Oh.
Mm. Is
Mm.
that one I come across as a ditzy blonde?
Mm.
Mm.
Who
So I
might
like you brought up
who am I
Ictal.
to
And I
judge?
remind you brought
I'm
up the Ictal. That's some of your music is called that. You have a song or an album called
yeah.
Ictal. Is it just the song or the album?
Ictal Variations is my first epilepsy album. Uh, then Purple Universe, which co-inhabited with this website, was the second one. And then the third one was called Fragmented State.
Uh,
Um,
yeah, epilepsy is purple because purple is the awareness
hmm.
color of epilepsy, correct?
And it is. And we are now in Epilepsy Awareness Month. Uh, March is World Epilepsy Month, essentially. And we have Purple Day. And I don't know if you know the story of how Purple Day actually came to exist, but there was a young lady who I was messaging with the other day called uh, Cassidy Megan, and she has epilepsy, and she was sitting at home watching TV with her mom one day, and it was the whole period where you get ad after ad after ad. And she said to her mom, she said, there's a lot of ads for World this day and National other day and international awareness for this, etc. She said, but I haven't seen a single one for epilepsy. And our mom said, you're right. She said, so then why don't we have one? Why don't we make one? So they decided that they would indeed do that. And our mom said, well, every day, awareness, whatever, needs an associated color.
Hmm.
And they first toyed with the idea of lavender because in days gone by, lavender had been used as a natural form of treatment for epilepsy, but then decided that lavender was a bit too specific, but that it fell under the color bracket of purple.
Hmm.
So that's how Purple Day became, and that's how purple became associated as the recognized color for epilepsy awareness.
Makes me picture
So,
a t-shirt that says, and the purple ribbon says, I'm epileptic, are you? No.
you know, now that's an interesting point that you make as well, because I actually had this conversation with somebody in Malaysia the other day who I'm going to see in November. Uh, Her daughter, the lady is called Joyce Moy. She's one of the people whom I've interviewed on this podcast. Fascinating lady. Her late daughter, Janet, was an artist with epilepsy. And Joyce was is setting up meetings for me for when I go over to Malaysia in November. And she was telling me about some of the people that she's going to introduce me to, and said they are epileptic as well. And it was kind of like a big hazard warning light went off. And I said to her, I said, I need to tell you something. I said, there are a lot of people who have epilepsy who are very, very sensitive about
Mhm.
being
Yeah.
called
Mhm.
epileptic.
Mhm.
Uh, and I said, actually, I was pulled up for that
Yeah.
at a conference in
Mhm.
Rome when I was presenting a poster, because on the poster I'd actually written epileptic art,
Mhm.
and Dr. Jim Chambliss, who himself is an artist with epilepsy, he said, that's actually incorrect. And then he said, the person is not epileptic. He said, the seizure is,
Mhm.
but the person is not. And it's interesting because you'd kind of run a poll, and some people would say, "Yes, I call myself epileptic," and other people would say, "No, I'm a person with epilepsy," because depending on the framing, to some people, if you say, "Oh, you're epileptic," that means the sum total of their being is epilepsy, and that nothing else really matters other than the fact that they have seizures.
Mhm.
So I'm curious, what's your stance? Would you refer to yourself as epileptic, or would you refer to yourself as somebody who has epilepsy?
I could say I'm an epileptic. I would never say that about someone else
Mm,
because that would be wrong.
mm.
Because they
So
may that
here's a
it's okay for me to
mm,
call myself that. It would
hmm
not be okay for me to say that about someone else.
mm. So here's
Because
a
that's a
pro.
sensitivity issue. I would not
Yeah.
assume it would be okay for them.
Mm,
Guy Stoker is a person with epilepsy. I would never say Stoker an epileptic. that
Good.
might be offensive to you. No, no, no. No. I
Yeah.
would, I would err on the side of caution.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no. But to
It's
me, it's okay because it's me.
hmm
But I can say I'm lots of things.
yeah.
I can say I'm Laura. I'm a member of the
hmm
Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
hmm
I can say I'm Laura. I'm a blogger. I'm
hmm
Laura. I'm a Californian.
hmm
But that isn't all I am. I mean, there's many
No.
things
Yeah.
that I am
hmm
that is said in one sentence.
Yeah. hmm
But I understand that it's epileptic seizure. I get that.
Yeah.
But it's okay for me to call myself that.
Yeah. Because you are then therefore taking ownership of that label.
Yeah, it's easier to say.
hmm Yeah, it's a shorter description,
And if
but
someone were to come up to me and correct me, they can do
hmm
that.
hmm
It's up to them if they feel a need to say, "Hey, that's offensive to me when you call yourself that." I would
hmm
listen to them. They
hmm
have freedom and they can express their feelings to me. If they came up to me angry and offended, I think that would be a
hmm
little out of place.
hmm
I'm not sure I'd handle them other than to listen to them and not sure I would apologize to them, but I certainly would listen to them and respect that they have an
hmm
opinion.
hmm
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It
everybody
is a
does.
sensitive topic.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I mean, you were on about conferences and congresses and awareness projects. I mean, they are happening absolutely everywhere all the time. Uh, and thanks to digital media and social media and LinkedIn and things like that, there is a lot more information out there nowadays than there even was say 10 years ago, you know.
Mm.
And certainly when I was first experiencing seizures, that information just wasn't there, you
Now, are
know.
you ashamed of being a person with epilepsy?
Not being a person with epilepsy, but I wouldn't refer to myself as an epileptic.
But I
Um,
mean, are you ashamed that you have
no,
epileptic seizures?
no, I'm not. It's an inconvenience. Um, it has cost me an awful lot of money in earnings um, over the years because certain companies within the entertainment industry refuse point blank to employ a person with epilepsy,
Mm.
even if the person with epilepsy is actually the best person for the job.
Mm.
They just say, no, don't want you.
Now
Um,
I can see being a heavy equipment operator,
uh-huh.
not hiring you with epilepsy, but a musician, I don't
Mm,
see the
yeah.
reason why.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
is it because you'll be on stage?
Yeah,
Oh,
right there in front of people. But and also from a evacuation safety perspective.
mm,
Um, but the thing is, I always when I have that debate with people, and it's all to be fair, it's always a mutually respectful
mm,
conversation. It's never a heated argument. But I always explain to people that, okay, so you won't employ me to entertain passengers as a piano vocalist because I have epilepsy. But here's the thing. I'm actually less likely to take a seizure than the captain is to drop down dead of a heart attack or a brain aneurysm.
mhm,
The reason for that is the medical population already know that I have epilepsy,
mm, mhm,
and therefore mine is completely controlled.
mm, mhm, mhm,
So, within the parameters of me taking my medication and me not being at work for a longer duration than I can access my medication, there is not an issue,
Hmm.
you know.
Hmm.
Whereas for people who are have underlying health issues which haven't been identified or diagnosed, there is actually a greater chance of those things manifesting. And I said, I think it would be more catastrophic or more dangerous for the well-being of several thousand passengers if the captain dropped down dead than if the pianist had an epileptic seizure.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but no, that door is firmly closed.
Firmly closed.
Yep, firmly closed.
Mm.
And so yes, it's an interesting one. Obviously, if somebody does have a tonic-clonic seizure, it's an unpleasant event to witness.
But with so
Uh,
many people with undiagnosed epilepsy
mhm.
and a crowd of 1,000 people,
Yes, absolutely.
I don't
Uh,
know how those stats work actually, because they
yeah,
say so many
this.
people out of 1,000 have epilepsy, but I don't know how those stats really, what that really means. But the likelihood of anybody having epilepsy or anybody having a seizure anytime for whatever reason
Hmm.
is incredible. Lots of people have horrible, unfortunate health issues that can
Hmm.
render them incapable of making a decision or incapable of
Hmm.
moving.
Yeah,
So it's always a risk.
yeah.
It's a risk. And we just have to take care of each other,
Hmm.
be aware and
Absolutely.
mindful and love people enough to step in and help. But
Yeah, absolutely.
and you
And
put people on a ship,
yeah,
it's
exactly.
risky. It's not like you can run anywhere.
No, no. But as there's within the confines of the ship, there are so many steps in place before it becomes an issue, you know. So let's take that classic example of the captain being no longer. There are many, many other people. He's certainly not the only one who works on the bridge,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know. So therefore, it's not like if the captain's not there, the ship's going to sink.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know, there
Hmm.
there are many, many steps in place to follow through before it even comes becomes an issue at all
Hmm.
for the safety of the passengers and crew. You know.
I think that's interesting because we can do that in life. So if
Hmm.
those with epilepsy have support groups and families
Hmm.
that can help with that, but sometimes that is, I don't know if humiliating is the right word, because I'm not in that situation. But when you have a young adult who wants to branch out in the world, but they still have to live at home because they
Hmm.
need a caretaker,
Hmm.
or you
Yeah.
have grown men who can't do risky things like get on a ladder to fix something
Hmm.
because it's too risky.
Hmm.
Those are also issues that
They
people deal
are.
with,
Yeah.
that they're limited in their daily lives. But I
Hmm.
can't imagine my husband not being able to do the brave thing that's typically considered manly.
Masculine.
There
Yeah.
you go,
Yeah.
because he would have to be afraid of a seizure. Not he needs that is taking care of your family, not being put
Hmm.
yourself at risk. But it's
Hmm.
not climbing Mount Everest, which is
No.
risky. It's
No.
climbing a ladder.
Yes. Yes.
And then to
Exactly.
not be able to fly the
Yeah.
coop because you
Yes.
need caretakers. Those are
Hmm.
things
Yes. Hmm.
that would be incredibly difficult.
Yes.
I would imagine. Tell me about
Yes.
that.
Yes. That is absolutely true. I've been in that situation before, and when I went through that situation, I'd actually been fully independent before then. I had my own house, my own job, drove a car, and all the rest of it, and was fully functional. And then all of a sudden, bang, and you go from being completely fully functional to not functional whatsoever, and entirely dependent on other people. And that sudden dependence and complete dependence is absolutely crushing, you know, because all of the things that you can do before, all of a sudden, no, can't do that. No, can't do that either. No, not allowed to do that. No, I'll have to get somebody else to ask me to do that for me. You know, it's almost like it's almost like intellectual amputation. Really, it really is.
I love
Uh,
that term. Can I use that term?
yeah, yeah,
Intellectual.
by all
I'm
means.
going to take
Yeah,
it. I'm going to take it. I
yeah.
lost my driver's license for 3 years.
Hmm.
That that loss of independence
Yeah.
is very
Hmm.
difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again,
Going to the store is like planning a weekend vacation, you
yes,
know?
it is. Yeah. And again, you're reliant on
Yes.
somebody else in order to get there and to get back. And then that's cutting into their time rather than only being any relevance to your time, you
But
know?
then you develop, see, I know there's loss of money and time,
Hmm.
and money can be recuperated, hopefully. There's hope that it can.
Hmm.
I know a lot of people say time can't be made up, but I think you can learn from the time.
Hmm.
And then is time really lost if you can learn from it and become better?
Hmm.
So I think when you're in situations, for me, I'm not going to
Hmm.
talk for anybody else,
Hmm.
but for me, when I lost my ability to drive,
Hmm.
it opened up my level of compassion for those who can't afford a car
Hmm.
or for those who will never drive.
Yes.
It just, um, and I think that that is a lesson you can take.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
wish I could have taken it in a simpler way, like the Cliff Notes,
Yeah.
but learning compassion and realizing that, I'm standing there in line at the grocery store.
Hmm.
I like knowing that I know that people around me have hidden disabilities, which
Yeah.
epilepsy is.
Hmm. Hmm.
I just, I like that about myself.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
think life is a bit richer
Hmm.
when you can see people as God sees them.
Hmm.
You can know that there's something beyond what you see,
Hmm.
which I think musicians
Hmm.
and I think artists
Hmm.
do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, certainly, whenever I meet a new person, I'm always interested not only on the external appearance, but finding out more about who's behind the appearance, you know, who is the person inside there, you know. Uh, what is their life experience? What are their views and opinions, etc. And of course, all of those views and expressions and points of perception, etc., are informed by their past experience. Um, I read an interesting paper a few years back on ableism, and which of course is the boundaries that society constructs against people who live with disability.
Mm.
Uh, and they said a lot of it is down to environmental history. And by that, what they referred to is if a baby is born into a home where daddy has one arm, then seeing a person with one arm is perfectly normal. You know, if that child is born into a household where everybody in that world is able-bodied, and then when they're 13 or 14 or adult are exposed to somebody with one arm or who is blind or who uses a wheelchair, it takes the brain an awful lot more work to try and fathom out how they are supposed to deal with something they've never seen before. And a lot of it is fear of the unknown, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, absolutely. What you see around you is very much informed by what you've seen before.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Another interesting study was during lockdown, um, about the use of how we're communicating now through Zoom, or
Mm-hmm.
Skype or whichever
Mm-hmm.
platform people use. Because at the moment we can only see each other from round about the chest level up. So it could be that either one of us didn't have use of our legs.
Mm-hmm.
And on this platform, we wouldn't be influenced by that disability because we can't see it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, if all of a sudden you wheeled yourself away, chances are, subliminally, the person's perception of you, who they'd just been talking to a matter of seconds before, would change instantaneously.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't have changed at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your knowledge and experience and what you have to offer wouldn't have changed one little bit.
Yes, yes.
But their expectancy of you would most likely change in a heartbeat.
Isn't that kind of sad?
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. Yeah.
But
Uh,
then I think we might do that to ourselves too. We don't give ourselves thinking of the words. I think we also handicap ourselves in a way.
it's what some people call self-stigma.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we are disgusted when we find out there we get a diagnosis of something
Hmm.
that makes us imperfect.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. If we're not exposed to people who are different than us, in any way different,
No. Hmm.
but certainly those who aren't as capable physically or mentally
Hmm.
or emotionally as we are,
Hmm.
it's a shame when we are stymied and don't know what to do, when we
Hmm.
don't can't treat that person as a whole human being because
Yes.
we see the parts that are missing.
Yes. Exactly.
It's
Yes.
embarrassing. We should be ashamed. You know, we need to
Yeah.
change that as you're individually, we need to change that. I'm
Yeah.
not quite sure how
Oh,
because
we'll figure out a way.
you and I
Yeah.
are going to
Yeah.
figure it out
Yeah.
because we're going to
We'll
bring
change
arts
the
into
we'll
that. We're
change the
going to
word.
bring
Yeah.
art into that, and we're going
Yes.
to have
Absolutely.
songs and
Yeah.
artwork and group meetings, and
Absolutely.
we're going to
Yeah.
change that.
Yeah.
But I
We'll
think
change
when
the
we
world.
get told we're not perfect, it's
Yeah.
like my drawing realization. We are so shocked
Hmm.
because it's not what we expected. And certainly, if you've been an athlete
Hmm.
and you've been thought you're beautiful and you've been doing
Hmm.
all the right things, then zip,
Yeah.
as an adult, you
Absolutely.
get epilepsy.
Yeah. I
Or you've done
mean,
all the right things by your children. You ate all
mhm.
the right foods when you were pregnant. You did all these right things, and your child has epilepsy.
Hmm.
Or
Absolutely.
you weren't as careful as you thought you were, or you were perfectly careful,
Hmm.
and your kid got in a head trauma
Hmm. Yeah.
and was diagnosed. I mean, all these, it's no matter what, it's just devastating
Yeah.
news.
And the thing is that
You
doesn't,
can, yeah, it's
yeah,
just not what you expected. It's devastating. It's uh,
and
layers of pain,
there
layers.
doesn't have to be a precursive reason. So there doesn't have to be a head trauma, there doesn't have to be a road accident or anything like that. The thing with epilepsy is it can just happen. It can just start. And
Be careful, be aware.
yeah, absolutely.
Don't think
Live,
less of people because they have a problem.
no, mm-mm,
Don't think less of people because they don't function
no.
perfectly. And I like, really, who does?
Well, exactly.
How many of the pe population, if you want to flip those numbers around,
Yeah,
I once looked at how many people have diseases according to the, I don't know, was it NIH or
hmm
whatever? Lots of people do, and lots of people have two.
hmm
And if you flip the numbers around, it doesn't look like that many people are like unimpacted.
unimpacted. Yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
yeah,
From the original English there, by diseases or problems. So
yeah, absolutely.
why not we just embrace it? We're all imperfect and
Yeah, and Joyce, who I was telling you about earlier, the documentary that she made about her daughter was actually called Perfectly Imperfect. And fantastic documentary, and it actually featured Julie.
mm-hmm.
Um, so I strongly suggest that because at the moment the documentary is only available if people contact Joyce herself, because it's private. But it's a 45-minute documentary, and it's incredibly impactful. And it's the fact that Janet's struggles actually formed her art,
Mm,
and her art has touched so many people around the world in so many ways that it's quite astonishing, really. Uh, and what Janet did, what sorry, Joyce did, was she decided that she didn't want Janet's work to only be a picture that somebody would put up on the wall, but she wanted it to go beyond that. So she set up a company called Beyond the Canvas.
mm,
And then
mm.
Janet's work became things like curtains and bags and uh, quilt covers and that sort of thing. And I actually received as a gift a tie, a bow tie, because I wear bow tie at work, um, which was from Janet's artwork. So therefore, essentially, I am carrying on her message uh, whenever I wear that to work. And I think that's such a brilliant idea. Uh,
It
so
really,
that even though Janet's not here anymore, her work very much still is, and on a global level. Uh, Heidi Morales, who we both know as well from Hidden Truths Project, apparently her yoga mat is a piece of Janet Leigh's art as well. So, it's art can certainly carry more miles than we can, you know, and
absolutely.
speak more words than we possibly ever could, even though I'd give it a good run for its money, I think. You know what I mean? Uh,
Mhm.
you were saying that we'd first met when you were in the process of writing a play about epilepsy.
Mhm.
So can you tell people about that play?
Well, I had to put that project on hold
Mm,
and because I wanted to really delve into my blog called the Beatitudes.blog, and I couldn't do both.
mm,
So I started working on the Beatitudes.blog, which explores the Beatitudes as a foundation of Christ-like living.
mm,
So my articles are about how to live the Beatitudes every day. It's not theological, it's not historical. I'm not a Bible scholar. I can consider it a practitioner's viewpoint.
mm, mm,
And then with working with that came the podcast, which is
mm.
not religious.
No.
It's
Mm,
about people putting their time, energy, and faith into and talents into something they believe, which
Hmm.
isn't doesn't have to be religious at all. I have
Oh.
people who are religious on there,
Hmm.
but not necessarily religious.
Hmm.
Because putting your time, energy, and talents into something you believe
Hmm.
is powerful to me.
Hmm. Yes,
And it's great
absolutely.
to talk to people. I've talked to people who believe in cooperative problem solving, a
Hmm.
musician,
Hmm.
you, a
Hmm.
drummer, someone who explains the Baha'i faith. That was
Hmm.
fascinating. Didn't know how
Hmm.
that worked.
Hmm.
I've talked to Julie.
Hmm.
Oh man, so many different people, so
Hmm.
many different things. Oh, a turkey hunter.
Wow.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. It's just the necessary quiet he has to maintain. Can you imagine sitting completely quiet? No, you can't.
No, no, I
Completely
can't.
quiet.
That's absolutely. Yeah, I'll take that one.
Completely and utterly quiet,
Yeah,
not move for
yeah,
hours.
yeah.
That was fascinating. Oh, they're just, a physical fitness,
Right.
physical trainer
Yeah,
has a dream of a dream of making this one little city physically fit. Just fascinating people that do
yeah,
fascinating things because they put their energy into something they believe.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So
So,
those are my two projects, and I don't have room to write this play, but it's a
mm,
fascinating concept, and I'll have to go back to it. I've never written a play before, but that doesn't mean I can't.
well, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when you find yourself with a block of time, it's something you can always pick up again.
I hope
Uh,
so. Well, yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. Well, I have to say it's been brilliant to interview you today. I think we've covered so much in the space of 1 hour. It's quite extraordinary, really. Uh, in terms of being able to write a description of about what this podcast is about, I think I'll just cut to the chase and say everything. You know, but I'm very much looking forward to picking up where we leave off. But for now, I'd like to say thank you very much indeed, Laura.
Well, thank you very much for having me.